Jessica from Peace Out Books, and today I'm here with a video I'm very excited for, and that is historical romances for dark romance readers. So these are a lot darker, and I feel like if you're a dark romance reader, you would love the old historical romances, which I have quite a few on this list, but there are some that are definitely more from contemporary authors that are still historical romances that delve into darker themes. The characters go through darker experiences, and I'm excited to get to these. I personally love them. Like, if you like mafia romances, you're probably gonna love some of these. Lots of captor-captive kind of things going on. So before I get to the video, I do want to thank the sponsor, which is Ana Luisa. I am an Ana Luisa ambassador, so I've been working with them for quite a few months now. I wear their jewelry literally every day. If you guys don't notice in all my videos, I am always wearing their earrings because I am obsessed with them. I love the quality. I love how pretty they are. And so of course I got some new pieces from them. And because the holiday seasons are right around the corner, I do have a couple gifts for my sister that I ordered as well. So I'm only wearing one of the new earrings that I ordered because they're for me, and then the other two I will show you are for my sister. One of my favorite things about Ana Luisa is they are a very eco-friendly company. Even down to their box, it's made of 100% recycled material, and it even says continue the cycle, and I always recycle my packages, and I just like how small and compact the package is, so I feel like they're not wasting too much, and they make sure to offset all of their carbon emission. So I love that whole stance and message behind Ana Luisa, and their jewelry is gorgeous. I love their jewelry so much, and so like I said, I wear their earrings every day. I'll go ahead and show you. I have one of my older pairs that I have from them paired with my new pair from them, and then I have some studs I got for my sister. Getting a little up close and personal, but because I have my ears pierced 3 times here and once up here, I love wearing multiple pairs. I'm always wearing at least 2 of their hoops or dangly earrings. Mixing and matching their jewelry is honestly the best because I feel like they always kind of go together, especially these. So I ended up getting their bigger hoop here. This is my new one, and I paired it with my smaller one, and I think it looks so good together. I literally wear this hoop every day, and I always end up pairing it with a bigger hoop, like my dangled star and moon set or my like dangly chain one. So I've paired it with my new hoop, and I love it so much. If I'd gotten these pairs for me, I would definitely have paired them with my other ones that I have, so that all 3 of my earrings would have been from Ana Luisa. But the first one I got for my sister are these really cute diamond studs, and then I also got a pair of 3 studs, and she actually also has hers double pierced because for our birthday, we're twin sisters, we got our ears pierced together. I got my 3rd done and she got her 2nd, so we have always been looking for earrings that we want to add to our collection. I think you can see them. So they're all in different little shapes, and I think they're really cute. I'm so excited to give those earrings to my sister for Christmas. Like I said, she definitely wears more studs, and I always wear more dangles, and so Ana Luisa definitely has both, and I have a bunch of necklaces I have from Ana Luisa. They are the perfect for the holiday season, which is right around the corner, like I said, and Ana Luisa actually has an amazing deal going on, which is buy one, get one 60% off. So like I said, I wear their earrings every day. I love them so much. I only work with companies that I genuinely want to support and I would use myself. Check out Ana Luisa in the box down below for all of your holiday shopping needs, whether it's for a family member or a close friend that you just want to show that you're thankful for them in your life. Check out Ana Luisa, and thank you to them for sponsoring this video. Let's go ahead and get on to the dark historical romances. The first one I have is the only indie published book on this list, and it's the one that I think everybody should start with if they're a dark romance reader, and that is Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. It is no surprise this is on this list. This is one of my favorite historical romances of all time. It is amazing. This one is a pirate romance, and our heroine, she really learns how to survive as a woman in society during this time period, especially a woman on the seas, when she decides to take over her own ship, and she ends up being married to another pirate captain, but there's a pirate hunter after her who wants to literally kill her, and it's her romance also with that pirate hunter, and it is amazing, though our heroine goes through some really brutal things. And what I love about dark romances is they really explore the relationship between the hero and the heroine, especially when the hero harms our heroine, which is what the pirate hunter does to her. He's trying to kidnap her and kill her, and so it really looks at the balance between the relationship and the dynamics of that kind of dark relationship, and so this explores that definitely. So if you like that in a dark romance, check this one out. It's so good, but very dark. The next one I have deals with some heavy topics, and that's why I'm including it in this video, and that is Flowers Through the Storm by Laura Kinsale. And this one, our hero actually suffers from a stroke, and it is so hard reading about any kind of character with any form of disability in this time period because they're treated absolutely horrendously. Nobody understands them, and instead of actually taking the time to take care of them and understand them, they just like throw them away basically. They shove them into insane asylums. They don't speak to them. They are met with absolutely horrible conditions. This one has those scenes, so it's really, really hard to read. And what I love though about this book is that we got to meet the hero before this happened to him, so we got to see how charismatic he was in the beginning, and he met our heroine, so they knew each other. And she is of lower class, and I forget what she was working with her father on some sort of business, and I don't remember what it was, but she's really good at business. And so he is definitely a rake. He's a playboy, and then that incident happens. He has a stroke, which is what we assume. They don't know what that is. And so he suffers horribly in this book, and then she finds him and she decides to take care of him. And so obviously if he's treated horribly, he can never recover in any sense of the word. So he has the ability to cope and become better. He's never going to fully recover from the stroke, but the way that she interacts with him and then how she takes care of him, he is able to learn how to communicate with her. He has a better life with her, but in the beginning it's not. And so this book is really hard to read in that sense. And the romance kind of takes a back seat to the overall plot. So this one is probably the least romancy of all, but it's still a historical romance. It's still so touching and heart-wrenching, and I really loved it. And I'd recommend it if you want something that delves into those darker topics, but has kind of a happy ending. Well, yes, it's a romance, so it has a happy ending, but a happier light to what happens to him. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about my new obsession, and I've only talked about this in my wrap-up. So if you watch my wrap-up, you heard me talk about these, but it's the only video I've ever talked about these books in, and that is the Scourge of St. James series by Lorraine Heath. Lorraine Heath is my literal absolute favorite person ever. I'm obsessed with her books. I'm trying to read all of her backlist. I definitely want to do a guide to her. But the Scourge of St. James I've actually read out of order because then I read the children of these characters' books first, and I wish I didn't because now I'm like, I need to go back and reread those so I can see them as parents. But so I would recommend reading these first. But these are about a group of children who grew up on the streets together, and so they're best friends, and they all might have, well, two of them were in jail together and faced horrible conditions in jail, and they all have really tragic backstories and were raised by someone, and they had to fend for themselves on the streets, and now they are adults and all marry people who are of high class. And so it's definitely 2 out of the 3 are social class difference, which I loved. And so the first one is in bed with the devil, and our hero is an earl, but he is guilty of murdering someone. At least that's like the rumor around the place. So he has a horrible burn on his hand. I believe it was his hand because he was jailed as a child. And so he, like, that's his brand that he was in jail. So everybody's like, ooh, like his bad reputation. But he actually doesn't know anything about his past. And so he killed someone, and then that person's brother, relative, I'm blanking on what their actual relationship was, but the relative was like, hey, you're actually the missing earl's, like the child of this earl that passed away, and the child went missing, and that's you. And so he's grown up on the streets. He has no idea how to be upper class, and so he takes on the role unwillingly, really, because he doesn't believe that this is actually who he is. He has no recollection of his past, and so he is determined though to marry one of the girls that was raised with them, like his best friend. And so she grew up on the streets as well, and so this woman tracks him down and is like, I need your help killing someone, because she's heard of his reputation, and she wants the husband of one of her close friends dead because he abuses her. And so she asks for his help, and at first he doesn't want to, but then he says, well, I'll make a deal, which one of my favorite tropes. You help my betrothed be high class, or like know how to act in society, and I'll do it for you. And so they agree. So she's training this to-be earl's wife, you know, this earl's to-be wife, how to be a lady while falling for the earl, and it is so good. And she's trying to protect her friend, and it's amazing. And then he's trying to uncover who he really is, because is he really this long lost child of this earl or not? And it's amazing. And he has to uncover a lot of trauma from his youth, and that's where that whole dark aspect comes. Book 2 is a lot darker, and I actually read the reviews before I read book 2, and I was worried it was going to be like really dark because people were complaining about that side of it, and I didn't think it was. But this one is Between the Devil and Desire, and this is Jack's book, Jack Dodger. He is amazing. Our heroine loses her husband, and she is quite younger than her husband. And so he dies, and she thinks it's her fault. So there's all that trauma going on that she's trying to deal with because she thinks that she killed her husband because of something that happened that she caused. And so it's her and her son, and her son can't be raised by a woman alone in society, I guess. So the husband has to like set a ward for the son to like help him in society. And so he assigns that job to Jack Dodger. And the heroine is like, what? How do they even know each other? She didn't know her husband knew this man. She's like, what is he thinking? And Jack is like, I've only talked to this man like twice. Like, he's come to his gaming hell before because he owns a gaming hell. And he's like, I don't know what's happening. And so he ends up having to take on this role and like has all his assets and everything. And Jack's not a lord or anything high class. He is from the streets and he owns a gambling hell. And so he has to spend time with this woman, and like his job ends when she finds a husband. And so she's supposed to be finding a husband, but they end up falling for each other instead. And Jack is so protective of her son. It was adorable. And her son's very skittish and shy and like scared of grown-ups. And Jack is like, what has caused this? Because in my experience, children learn to be scared of adults. They aren't born scared. So what has happened to him to make him so scared? So they have to unravel that whole thing happening with her son. And there's also a bad guy on the loose as well, and it was so good. I feel like I don't remember if it's the same bad guy, but there's a bad guy in book 2 and book 3 that are trying to like go after people. And so this one was so good. I loved it so much. I loved Jack's relationship with her son. It was adorable, but Jack has a really dark past because he was in jail as well and taken advantage of someone as well. So there trigger warnings for assault, especially of a minor, in this because it happened when Jack was young. And I thought we were gonna get like really intense scenes of it, but we don't. It's just that Jack has a very traumatic childhood, and so that's really where the dark aspect comes in, and they're trying to take over the person that caused that as well. So that does lead into book 3 because book 3 is Surrender to the Devil, and this is Franny's story. Franny was the one who was supposed to get married to the guy in book 1, but really they realize like they're just like friends, but they're so protective of each other. That's why he wanted to marry her. Like he confused like romantic love with familial love, and so she was like completely fine. So she's actually at the wedding of them in the beginning and meets the heroine from book 1 brother, who is a duke. And Franny grew up on the streets. She's really good with numbers. So she actually does all of the bookkeeping for the gambling hells that Jack owns, and so she has so many overprotective men in her life because all the men she grew up with are so protective of her. And the Duke takes a liking to her, and they spend more time together and they fall for each other, but she knows she can never marry him because she's not high class. And she also is opening an orphanage, and she's really taking care of boys on the streets of London, and that's because of her own childhood. And it's also traumatic because she was actually kidnapped and taken to a brothel as a like 12-year-old. So she had a very traumatic experience, but it's really about her overcoming that and taking control of her own body and sexual experience and desiring someone for the first time. And it's so good, but it's definitely dark in that aspect. So this was amazing. I love this series. There's a book 4 that I haven't gotten to yet, which I will soon, but the first 3 books, amazing. Read them. The next 2 are actually in my favorite old school historical romances of all time, so check that video out. I talk about all the romances that I love from before the year 2000. We have Hearts of Flame by Joanna Lindsey. This one is a captor-captive romance, and that's why I loved it so much. She is from a family of Vikings, and she stows away on her brother's ships because she wants to experience men from outside of her village. She thinks they're going on a supply run. They're really going to raid a place, and so she doesn't know that, and when they go to raid this place, they're taken over and taken captive. They don't know she's a woman at first, then they figure it out, so the guy takes her as his own, and it's their romance. Yeah, it's captor-captive, but I loved it. Like, I love this book so much. I heard it's kind of a similar story for her parents, which is actually book 1 because this is book 2, and I'm excited to read that, but a lot of people don't like it. If you don't like dark romance, you probably would hate old historical romances, but I loved it. The next one isn't necessarily dark, but if you like an over-domineering hero, you're gonna love this, and that is The Bride by Julie Garwood. If you don't like the super alpha, I control you and you're my woman kind of hero, you don't like this, but I really loved it because the heroine did as much as she could in this male-dominated society and really pushed back. Even though she's forced to marry him, she wears black on their wedding day, so I don't know what this cover is doing, but he is the laird of a clan, and it's ordered that she marry him, and so she has to, and her sister has to marry this other laird of the clan, and they have to travel together back to the clan, and she she really wants to make a space for herself, but he's all like, you're my woman, you listen to me, and she doesn't, and it's so good. And he definitely pushes her buttons and pushes the line between consent and non-consent. That's why a lot of people have issues with this, but she truly does like him and want what he's doing, and I just loved how she came into her own and was able to experience those things as a woman in this society. So I really love this one. As a marriage of convenience, you should check this out. The next one I have a serious love-hate relationship with, but I'm going to recommend it anyways if you want to experience it, and that is Shanna by Kathleen Woodiwiss. I gave this 3.5 stars, but I couldn't stop reading, but I was super annoyed with it. So Shanna is a character that is going to grind your gears. She's going to be so annoying to you, but the hero will literally do anything for her, even if it's her fault that he is like about to die. He'll like, it's okay, I love you, Shanna, I'm with you and I'm gonna save you. So Shanna has to get married because I think her father's trying to marry her off to someone, and so she takes it into her own hands and she's like, I'm gonna find someone who's about to die, who's on death row, marry him, he dies, and I'm a widow. And so then like everyone can have her back, she can do whatever she wants. And so what happens is that guy actually ends up being saved from death row and then shows up where her father lives, I think. And so she is like, oh my gosh, what the heck? And she doesn't tell anybody what happened, and he doesn't tell anybody what happened, and he's trying to work off this debt he has, and then she like makes up these lies, and he ends up being like kidnapped and almost dying, and she freaks out and tries to help him, and like she's so annoying because like half the things that happen in this book wouldn't have happened if she wasn't selfish and annoying, but they did, and she does, and he will do anything to save her and protect her. And I'm like, but she's the reason you're in this situation in the first place. But it is a wild journey, this book. So if you want to experience that, pick it up. The other lighter dark romance I have is Winds of the Storm by Beverly Jenkins. This one is a spy romance, and I really loved it because our heroine has to be like a madam and run this place. So I don't know if I would call it a brothel. It's pretty much a brothel, but there are like events that they have and stuff. And so in the beginning, she actually saves our hero from being killed, and as a spy, like she's a spy and that was her job to like help protect him. And so then he shows up and doesn't recognize her though because she has like this mask on the whole time, like her face is covered the whole time as this madam, but they're really in this town in order to do spy things, and it's so good. So the whole thing is like being spies, and it's not like super dark and taboo, but I feel like it's a really fun like adventure spy thing with like a brothel in the background. Like she has to be in charge of this place, and so I really enjoyed this and I would recommend it. Okay, so the last series that I have to recommend, I saved it for last because like everybody knows the series, but it is the Victorian Rebels series by Kerrigan Byrne. If you have not read this yet, you should, but all of Kerrigan Byrne's books have really dark beginnings. So in The Highwayman, our heroine is about to be assaulted by someone at their school. Like they are all live in like this boarding school together, and so this boy that she is like deeply in love with as children, he ends up killing that man to save her, and he ends up being taken to a labor camp and dying. And so now she says she's a widow because she says that she had been married to that boy, but even though they weren't, but she like takes on this persona as a widow. She works for Scotland Yard as a secretary, I think, and then this highwayman shows up and pretty much takes her. And so it is so good, but again, like really dark beginnings. I'm pretty sure that was the beginning of this one because I feel like there was another beginning where in her other series where someone was about to be taken advantage of, and so they all killed him together. But this one, just amazing, and I love a highwayman. A highwayman is just like someone on the other side of the law who steals from people, and this one was great. So then we have The Hunter, where he was literally an assassin, and his job is to assassinate the heroine. And instead of killing her, he kisses her. She's a single mom. She's an actress. He grew up with his mother, though, in jail. So I'm pretty sure he was born in jail and saw really bad things happen to his mom. So that's where the whole dark aspect comes in here. The Highlander, I feel like, is the least dark out of all of these. He was in the army, the military, and she is the new governess. I don't think anything dark happens in here. Oh no, there is. I just completely forgot. She is on the run from something. So there is a dark, I was like, I'm pretty sure they all start very dark though, and so they do. She's on the run from something. I don't want to tell you, but she is. And then we have these three. I actually still haven't read The Scott Benson's Wife, so haven't read that one yet, but we have The Duke with the Dragon Tattoo, which I remember the least about, and Oh, he doesn't remember anything about his past. So it says he woke up in a mass grave with a tattoo on his arm. So I definitely need to reread this one. And then we have the Duke, where he actually doesn't have a hand, and because he was in the military, and there's like someone trying to kill someone in here. I remember that. So this one was really fun as well. So she actually spent the night with him, and he doesn't know who she is though. So this one was really good because now it's in the future, like years pass. He is back. I remember like she actually nurses him back to health because he is in her hospital, and this one was just like really good as well. I like all the pieces are coming back to me. I read this series a long time ago, but it's amazing. So check all those out. Let me know if you have any other dark historical romance recommendations. Like I said, Sea of Ruin's probably the darkest, but a lot of these characters go through dark things, or they have to deal with like more death than normal, or just like dark experiences. So let me know if you enjoyed these recommendations, if you have any more, and make sure you check out Ana Luisa. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video. Check out some of their jewelry as the perfect gift for the holiday season. Check out their sale, which is buy one get one 60% off. Use my link down below, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.